Kiki.
Try and not touch the shrubbery with this beautiful car.
Right. Welcome to the Trans Am.
Yeah, look at you.
Let's get that so we can see you because you're way prettier than me. There we go.
This is exciting. This is like, so what did you name her?
Well, you remember my old Firebird? I always used to say she was my goth girlfriend that I should break up with, but I can't because she's...
Yeah, I know.
This is like her older sister, like got her shit together. So I named her Elvira.
Elvira. Well, hi, Elvira. It's nice to meet you.
Me and you had some adventures in the old one, though.
Oh my God, did we ever?
I rember chasing one of your exes around town trying to serve papers on him.
Yep, I
Racing
sure
around
do.
Fred's.
I sure do.
So what do you want to eat?
Well, what do you like? What's close?
My favorite Philly cheesesteak place in the world is right around the corner.
Oh, that's so evil.
I know.
That's so evil.
Want to do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Fuck yeah.
Fuck it. As I'd sit there and go, God, I so want to get my love handles like lipoed off, and I'm like, now I'm gonna go eat shit I'm not supposed to. But hey, whatever.
All things in moderation, you know. All things in moderation, including moderation itself.
You know, I was good. I had a salad for dinner last night.
There you go. See, we're fine. So you're my guest star on my very first edition of Pornstar Drivethrough.
Woohoo!
Ironic because there's no drive-through there. We're gonna get in.
Well, you know, if we really want to, we can go through the drive-through just for shits and giggles.
They don't have one, so
Oh.
we'll pull in, we'll get the food, we'll come back in the car, and we'll eat it here. There's nothing sexier than the two of us eating Philly cheesesteaks in the car.
I know, right?
So you just this year, or I guess last year technically, started this amazing new business.
I did. It's been quite a journey. I'm the third pass-approved lab that does STI testing for the adult industry.
Yes.
And what that really means for those that are not industry is we have a third-party database in the industry that tells producers and performers, directors, whether talent is clear to work. And by clear to work, that means that you have a current STI test that is a panel of 7 tests that is no more than 14 days old. So we test bi-monthly. We test for 7 things, as I stated, and we use the latest technology out there. We also use the CDC, medical standard for each test. And so what that means is that each test has certain reflexes built into it so that your likelihood of getting a false positive is extremely low. As a matter of fact, it's less than 1%.
Which is kind of a big deal for the industry because, it's better than getting a real positive, but every now and then somebody has a reaction to something that's enough of a positive that the test kicks back and the entire industry shuts down while everybody panics.
Yes, absolutely. There's also, interestingly enough, certain injuries that can cause false positives on certain tests.
Right, because they're really checking for the antibody.
Correct.
In most cases.
Correct.
Well, that's cool that we've got an even more sensitive system that will work better for us.
Yeah. It's been an interesting journey. Obviously at this point I know more about STIs than I ever wanted to know. I get phone calls about things that I'm like, I'm not a doctor, so let me talk to my medical director and get back to you.
But as an industry, we're already pretty damn well informed because, it's our job. But I can't even imagine how much you must know now that you're like, I didn't really want to know that.
Yeah, it's been a really crazy journey. I'm thankful that we were able to push it through. That the past approval alone took almost a year.
Oh, I imagine. Well, I'm sure they want to be careful and make sure that it's worth it.
They want to be careful. They want to make sure it's worth it. I'm the first performer to, waddle into this pool. We'll see if I'm cursing myself. I'm really proud of being able to bring that and give back to the community. we plan to branch out into the general populace.
I was just going to ask.
And, you know, work on getting them to understand the value of not just STI testing, but wellness testing, which we also do wellness testing for the adult industry as well.
All right, we're pulling up to Tip Top Hamburger here in beautiful Panorama City. It's just like 4 cinder block walls and a hot plate, and it is the fucking best Philly cheesesteaks in the world. Oh
my gosh, this is going to be amazing.
I had my first cheesesteak in Philadelphia, my first cheesesteak sandwich.
Oh yeah, did you have one of the ones with the cheese whiz or one of the different ones?
I didn't see them make it. It sure tasted like cheese whiz, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it probably was, because that's traditionally how they're made.
Yeah, and it was so good, and I had no idea what's going on. And I've been trying since then to find something as good here in LA, and so far, this is the best I could find. Let's go and get a sandwich.
Sweet.
All right, so we got our burgers, but it's so loud here. We're gonna sit in the car and eat them, but it's noisy as shit. So we're gonna go someplace, any place quieter. All right.
You know, honestly, here's one of the things that happens as you get older and you've been a porn star for 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a little less, but nevertheless, pretty close. So, you know, as we get older, things happen like digestive issues.
Yeah.
And, you know, so one of my...
we get our cheesesteaks.
I know, right? So one of my girlfriends the other day, I was complaining about some food not really setting well.
Uh-huh.
And she looked at me, she was like, "Are you sure you didn't blow out the bands in your asshole?" And I'm like, "No, idiot." Like, no, idiot.
You blow out
it's called, my body doesn't like certain things anymore. It's not hanging out of my butthole, so right? I must be okay.
It's like walking around with a slinky hanging out behind.
Oh my god. Oh god, don't even get me started on prolapses. Ugh. There is one thing that I have noticed since, you know, launching this business. There are a lot of younger girls that really don't know a lot.
Yeah.
And in some cases, I see them listening to older men who don't really know a lot about women's bodies either. So there's a lot of, you know, hot topics in our business right now, especially surrounding testing and sexual health. Science has come a long way, but how do we use that science and still keep the whole safe? So, you know, you have to think about, how does what I'm about to do not only affect my own health, but everyone else that I'm having sex with?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're dancing around the bush to be political, but I know exactly you're talking about PrEP. You're talking about the drugs that can bring you to bring an HIV positive person to a completely negative status or an undetectable status. And then the hot topic right now is, does that person get to come back to work or not?
It's a huge topic. And, you know, I'm in bed with past, so I have to be very careful.
Of course.
But that said, you know, the science is this. The science is, we now know that HIV 1 and 2, which are the most common types of HIV, and I mean, I'm just going to speak on those because I'm not sure what the other types do. I'm able to speak on 1 and 2.
Sure.
Those types of HIV act very similarly to herpes.
Yeah, they're both viruses.
In the sense that if you are taking your medication properly, you reach what is called undetectable status. That means that you are still positive, but you cannot transmit the disease or the virus. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the issue with this. For a person to become transmittable again, it takes 1 to 3 days for them to be off of their medication. And once they're off, in that 1 to 3 window, the virus comes back even stronger than before. There was a lot of hysteria about which HIV test is actually detecting undetectables.
Mm-hmm.
And the HIV 1 and 2 ABAG test, which is the past standard now, it does detect undetectable.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone comes in and they take that test, it will come back positive undetectable status. So I just want performers to understand that, because a lot of people thought, oh, well,
that means you can't.
There's people that are positive that are being hidden within the system. If they're taking that test, no, they are not. There's no way to hide them.
And at this time, should someone test positive ever, even once, the past system essentially kicks them out forever, unless we change something.
That is
even
correct.
If you test clear, the past system already knows you did test positive once, and you're not getting back in.
That is correct.
We could argue the philosophy of whether that should be allowed, but at the moment, that's the case.
Well, there has been talk of possibly having a second database.
Yeah, and we can talk about that, and I think well-mannered and reasonable, rational discussion is warranted, because it's a new issue. We never had to deal with this before, so let's talk about it. But at this time, the hysteria happens when people think that's already the case, is that people can get back in, and that's not the case at this time.
No, not at all.
For better or worse, that's not the case. All right, on to cheerier subjects. I present you your cheeseburger.
Oh my God.
We went to TikTok.
Look how good this looks.
It's so good. Go here. It is the best. I don't know if that's backwards on the screen or not, but I bet you guys can. You figure it out. You figure it out. It's delicious.